Hi guys, welcome and welcome back. If this is your first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for clicking on this video. In this video, I'm gonna show you a basic design that you could do in Stitch Artist level 1 if you struggle with making applique designs. Now, if you're a beginner in digitizing, this is going to be very helpful because I will go through the steps that you will need in order to digitize your own applique designs. Now, if that is something you are interested in, my ask is that you hit that subscribe button, turn on that post notification bell so you'll be notified each time I make a video. So let's get into the video. Okay guys, we are in Embrilliance and I'm using Stitch Artist level 1. Now today I'll be showing you how you could make an applique design using Stitch Artist level 1. So the first thing I am going to do, I'm going to actually go ahead and get the image that I want to turn into an applique. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that. So what I like to do, I just like dragging my image in. So this is an image of a popsicle. So I'm just going to drag that in. This is what it's going to look like. So when you drag your image in, when you figure out what you want your image to be, you drag it in, you could go ahead and you could resize your image to whatever size that you need. If you look over on my left on the top menu bar right here, it will tell you how many inches your image is. So in my case, my popsicle is 3 inches by, so it's 3 inches wide and 6 3/4 inches high. So that will tell you what your image is. So I'm gonna leave it at about 3 inches wide. So that's good for me. Okay. And I'm going to just center it. To center it, you are gonna go up to the top menu bar where I'm hovering. You're gonna see two arrows. You're just gonna put 0 at both X and Y coordinates. So this is my X coordinate and this is my Y coordinate. Now, if you want to always remember to center your image in the hoop, okay? Always remember to center your image in the hoop so that when you're going to stitch it out, you will not have any problem. So when you have centered, when you have finished deciding what size you want, so in this case, I brought it down a little bit lower because I want my satin border, my finished border to be very thick. And I like when it's very thick. So I brought it down to about 2 inch, almost 3 inch by 6, almost 6 inch. Now, when you do that, I want you to go ahead and you're going to go over to your right where you'll see your objects panel. So on your right, you're going to have your objects panel and you're going to have your properties panel. So on your objects panel, you are going to go ahead, you're going to click the image. You know that the image is selected because you see it's blue over here and you're going to just lock that image. To lock that image, you're going to use this first lock where I'm hovering, you're going to lock it, meaning I cannot go ahead and actually move it if I want. So let me just go back and center again. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock the image. Okay, so now that you've locked your image, you're gonna go ahead and go down to properties. And if you want to dim your artwork, you could use this slider tool right here and just dim it however you want. Now, to digitize this, we are going to use the run tool and the satin tool. So in order to get those tools, you are going to go up here where it says create. When you click on create, you're going to see all the levels that you have paid for. In this case, I only have Stitch Artist 1, so that is what I'm going to use. I'm also letting you know that this hoop that I'm using is a 5x7 hoop. To know your hoop size, you could go right to the top up on my top menu bar right here where you see preference. You're going to click on it and then you could choose your file format. In my case, I'm using PES and the hoop size that I'm using is a 130 millimeter by 180 millimeters, which is a 5x7 hoop. It tells you in inches at the bottom that it is a 5x7 hoop, and I'm gonna press OK. Now, it's time to start making this applique. Now, what you want to do is to decide, how do I want this applique? Do I want, so in this case, there are two colors here. There's the pink part and there's this little brown part at the bottom. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make the brown part into an applique, meaning I'm going to use fabric to represent that brown part, and then I'm going to make the pink part, which is the popsicle itself with the bite, also in applique. I'm going to use fabric to do that. Now, to get this done, we're going to start from the bottom, and in order to zoom, you're going to go to your top menu bar. You're going to see this magnifier. You're going to click on it, and you could just drag it over the area that you want to zoom. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here to my top left menu bar, and you're going to see what they call draw. Now, the draw tool gives you the options of what you're going to do. So the one that we'll be working with today is the draw with points, which is the first icon right here where I'm hovering. And then you have the close tool, which is the last icon in the same top menu right here where I'm hovering. So I'm going to click first on my draw with points, and I'm going to change that from artwork with no stitches, because if you look here where it says stitch, it tells you exactly what you're doing. So in this case, this first icon, which is just a box, it denotes no artwork, there's no stitches, but I want this first stitch that I'm gonna, this first artwork that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it into a run stitch. So I'm gonna change it from no stitch to a run stitch. Now this one is a run stitch. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to trace the area in which you want to put the applique. In this case, it's the brown area. So to start doing this, I'm going to start with a straight point. So to get a straight point, you are going to press Control. I'm using a Windows, so I'm going to press Control. I think if you're using a Mac, it's Command, but I'm going to use Control, and I'm going to right click. So I'm going to press Control, then I'm going to go a little bit above that brown area because I want the pink area to actually cover that part. I don't want it to be showing after I'm done. So I'm going to go a little bit over, and I'm going to press Control. I'm going to right click, and that will give you your first point. Now this one, if you see a box, it means that that is going to be a straight line or a straight point. I'm going to actually make another straight point right here at the base of the popsicle. So I'm going to click on it, and then you'll see that I have a straight line that is made. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to trace around this popsicle stick. And to trace around this, these are all curve points. So all you're going to do, you're just going to make some right clicks. So I'm going to click, click, click. All of this is curve. The less click that you make, the better. And right here, I'm going to make it straight. So I'm going to press Control, and then I'm going to make another straight line right here into the pink area, and I'm going to press Control and right click. Now you see that that is, you have traced the popsicle, but I want the whole popsicle to be closed up, because this is going to be my placement stitch. This is where it's going to tell me where to put my fabric. So I'm going to go up here to my left top left, and you're going to use this tool, which you'll see a red icon, and you're going to close it. Now this is the first stitch that you're going to make in this design. This is going to trace out where you're going to put your fabric for the popsicle stick. Okay, when you have this, the next thing you're going to do is to do a cut stitch, because when you're doing applique, you're going to do your placement stitch, which tells you where you're going to put your fabric. After your placement stitch, you're going to put your fabric over it, and then it's going to tack down the fabric, which is your cut stitch. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut that out. So in order to get that stitch, you are going to go over here where you see at my top menu bar, you're going to see copy, and you're going to, because look at it, this, if you go over to your objects panel, you see that that stitch, that run stitch that I've made is selected. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this run stitch for my next stitch, because it's going to be the exact same thing. So I'm going to go over here where it says copy. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go to the icon that is next to it, which is the paste. Right here where I'm hovering, I'm going to paste it. If you go back over to my objects panel, you see that I have two of the same stitch that I traced. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to change the color of the second stitch. This is important. So you're going to go down to where it says properties. So you're going to go here where it says color. I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to go and change that color to any color that you choose, and I'm going to press OK. Another thing that I want you to do, after you change the color, you're going to go back to your properties panel, and you're going to click on run, because this is a run stitch. And what you're going to do, you're going to change that length from 2.5 millimeter. It's going to default to 2.5 millimeter, but you're going to change that length to 1 millimeter. Now this is important, because when you are cutting your fabric, sometimes we make errors, we make mistakes, and we snip the fabric and it starts to unravel. If you make it 1 millimeter, what will happen is it will, even if you make an arrow and you snip a part of the thread, it will not unravel easily. So congratulations if you have made it this far. You'll see that we have two run stitches. The first one is going to be have a length of 2.5. That is just going to be your placement stitch. And then this one right here is going to be your run stitch. So let me just go ahead and um, label those. And this is going to be your cut stitch. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to actually go in and trace again. We're going to trace again. I'm going to go up to my top. I'm going to get my magnifier tool. I'm going to select the area that I want to trace, just to make it a little bit big so that you could see. Now what we're going to do now, we are actually going to go in and we're going to trace the pink portion, which is the popsicle, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We are going to go over to this area, which is the top left area. You're going to see draw with points. You're going to click on it. We already selected a run stitch, and we're going to just trace the popsicle. Now remember what I told you, whenever you start, you should always start right here. If you have any sharp points, any points that are, you know, sharp, not curved, you use the cusp, and you're going to press Control in order to get it. So Control, right click. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to press Control, right click. I'm gonna get a square, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna right click all around until I get to this point where it starts to look straight. So I'm gonna go ahead. So remember, the less nodes that you put, the better for you. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going to trace this area nice and neat. When it reached to this point, I'm going to press Control because I actually want that to be straight. Then I am going to go ahead and go down to this area. So right here, is gonna be straight. So I'm gonna press Control and I'm gonna put a point there. Then I'm going to zoom up and continue to put some curved points. And then right here, it's gonna be straight. So I'm gonna click on that. Then right here, it is straight. I'm gonna press Control, straight line. Then I'm going to continue to curve. Okay, here is a straight. Then I'm going to just zoom out for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to use my magnifier to see exactly. So right here would be a straight point. I'm going to press Control and I'm going to make a straight point. This looks slightly straight, so I'm just gonna make that straight. And then I am going to just click. This is a sharp point, straight. Then I'm going to just make some curve, and then I'm going to straight, curve, then straight, then curve, 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 then straight. And I'm gonna put a curve right here and I'm gonna stop it there. After I stop it, I'm gonna go up here where you see this arrow that goes around, you're gonna close it. Now you have another run stitch. Now go back to your objects property now. You're gonna go back to the objects property. You're gonna see that the color is the same as the one that's before. You don't want that because what the machine is gonna do, it's just gonna keep stitching and we want it to stop each time. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm going to go to color. I'm gonna change that color to a different color. Okay, so you could choose whatever color and I'm gonna press OK. Okay, so now that we have this, we are going to do what we call a placement stitch, which is another placement to put your fabric. So I'm gonna change it to placement. After I do that, I am going to duplicate this one again. Yes, the reason why, because we have to cut it out. So we're gonna go up here where you see to the top menu bar, you're going to see copy. I'm gonna copy it and then I'm gonna paste it again. And remember, whenever you copy and paste, you have to go to the properties panel. You're going to change the color again because you want the machine to keep stopping each time. You don't want it to keep going. All right, so this is also a cut stitch and I am going to change the color from that color. That is okay. I'm going to go back to my properties section. I'm going to click on run. This is 1 millimeter. It means then that I'm going to go to my placement here and change back that 1 millimeter to 2.5. Remember, the cut stitch is the only one that you want to really to be 1 millimeter. So let's just talk about what is gonna happen. So I'm gonna first start with the popsicle. I'm going to make a run stitch to see where I put my fabric. When I put my fabric, it's gonna make another stitch to make to so that I could cut out the fabric. Then it's gonna stitch out the popsicle part. It's going to show me where to put my fabric. After it shows me where to put my fabric, then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And now we're coming down to the fun part, okay? So after you do this, all right, we are going to have to trace one more time because if you notice, this popsicle stick, we don't want this area. So let me zoom up. You see this straight line right here? We don't want that to have satin stitches because what's going to happen is that when we put the pink over it, it's going to be too bulky. We don't need that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to make another open shape. Okay, I'm going to zoom up. I'm going to go back to draw with points. I'm going to change that to a satin border. So I'm going to go up to my top left, click on the draw with points tool. Then I'm gonna change it from a run stitch to a satin border. And that is what we are going to have. Now we are going to be ready now to um, start making the satin border. So what I'm gonna do, let me zoom up a little bit, get my magnifier, right? And we are going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to start making those drawing points. So I'm gonna click here, okay? And I'm going to go down. This is a straight point. Remember I told you, so I'm gonna just make that straight. Then I'm going to go ahead and just draw these points all the way around. I'm gonna make this one a straight point, and then I'm gonna go all the way up, and right here I am going to press Control and I'm going to press enter. Okay, so when you have this, this is going to be your satin border. Now, let's go over to this part and we're going to change the color. Remember, I'm going to change the color to a color that is like brown. So this is going to be the satin border for the bottom of your, I'm going to put a brown. Yeah, looks good. I'm going to change that to brown. Then so you go down to properties, you go to color, change it. Then you go over to satin border. Now yours is gonna be defaulted to a 3.5 width. I changed mine to a 4 millimeter width because I just like the thickness of the satin border. I like it to be thick, really thick. And you can go over to this the one beside the adjust the top stitch property. You could go and unjust the, I'm sorry, you could go ahead and adjust the underlay. So for this underlay, they're probably gonna default yours to edge run. I don't want an edge run. I just want a zigzag and a parallel stitch. I think that would be fine for this project. And that's that. You could go ahead and change it to whatever density. I'm gonna leave my density to be 4. And then the last thing we're going to do is to make the satin border for the popsicle. No, I don't have to go ahead and make that, trace that all over again because we already have a placement stitch here. So I'm going to go over to my objects panel and I'm going to click on placement. And because I already trace it and it is a run stitch, all I can do is to go back to my top menu bar right here to the left. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna paste it. When you paste it, you're just simply going to change it to a satin border, because remember when you copy and paste it, it's going to be a run stitch. You don't want it to be a run stitch, you want it to be a satin border. Now, when you make it into a satin border, it is going to default to whatever you had it to be in your properties menu. Okay, the color that you copy and paste will stay the same. If you want to change the color, you go down to the properties panel, click on it. I'm going to change it to Charmaine pink, I guess. And then this is what you're going to have. Yes, this is what you're going to have. So let me see if I could run the stitch simulator for you to see how this is going to stitch out. Now this is it, guys. This is an applique design that you could put on a child's shirt. You could um, make it in such a way that you could put a child's name, you could put summer, you could put whatever you want on this, and this is perfectly fine. Okay. So this is what it is, guys. This is the final results. I'm going to stitch it out and I'm going to show you what it looks like. If this was helpful in any way at all, remember to hit that subscribe button. Turn on that post notification bell so you'll be notified each time I make a video. So I'm going to stitch it out and then we are going to see how this looks.
Okay, guys, so this is the final result. Let me know what you think, and until we meet, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.